we're learning about Governor Ron DeSantis and Greg Abbott's stunts involving busing and flying migrants from their states to Martha's Vineyard in Massachusetts and Kamala Harris's home in D.C. So we're talking 48 migrants from Venezuela who were flown. And this is weird, right? It's like DeSantis flying migrants from a state he's not in. So he's flying migrants from San Antonio, Texas to Martha's Vineyard. And now a sheriff in Texas is opening an investigation into the people involved in luring those migrants onto planes, including apparently a blonde woman named Perla, who I like. I'm like, who is this woman? But let's look into what the fuck has been happening. So how did he get the money for it? Well, DeSantis spent $615,000 out of the state budget to charter 2 jets to fly the refugees. The money came from a $12 million program approved by the legislature using federal COVID funds. There you go.
Oh,
There's
Ronnie.
the money.
Ronnie.
All kinds of problems, obviously, including the fact that, like, he's cooking the books in his home state around COVID. The Republicans are like keeping Title 42 in a place so they can keep rejecting asylum seekers because of COVID, apparently, but they don't believe in it, but they do. Anyway. So when they got there to Martha's Vineyard, immigration lawyers stepped up. And 2 days after they arrived, they were bused to Joint Base Cape Cod on the mainland. Lawyers worked with federal officials to make sure they'd get where they needed to go without harming their status. Boston immigration lawyer Rachel Self told CBS News. Self also said that some refugees reported they were met by Homeland Security agents before boarding the jets who gave them false addresses and wrong information about which agency to contact to get their addresses changed. They were also told that jobs and housing would be waiting for them when they arrived. Now, I thought that was kind of crazy. I was like, damn, DHS is involved? What the fuck?
I mean, do we know for sure, or was it just somebody just pretending to be or whatever? Because it seems to be a
cardboard cutout sheriff's little badge.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, and if you're not from here, how do you know what's the official uniform and badge texture? Totally, you don't know. So you're just trying not to get deported. So I'm just gonna roll with this fluent speaking English person who said get on the plane.
Totally. And DHS says, I mean, I thought that was crazy, but they say, they're like, neither its agents nor immigration or customs enforcement and border patrol have helped DeSantis. They say they have no idea what's going on. And like, I know what you're saying, Roy, that like obviously immigrants who don't know these different agencies, like they're not going to necessarily know. But I definitely don't believe DHS. I don't trust.
Oh,
and
no.
Like I'm sure the head didn't know what was going on, but I told these.
Oh yeah, they don't. They're not gonna go. Yep, we did it. Like they're not a chance in the world.
Right. And there's the craziest motherfuckers. Like, we think the people who join police forces are just kind of, I mean, not always, but it's always like, oh yeah, that guy, yeah, he's a cop. That makes sense. People who join Customs and Border Patrol, man, it's like they like the cruelty. It is extra cruel. It is policing with a side of more cruelty if you needed that. So I don't know. I don't know who to believe, but apparently we'll get to the bottom of it, even though, according to the White House and the Justice Department, they're not saying if they're going to investigate allegations of trafficking, kidnapping. You got that one Texas sheriff who is. But let's look at what happened. So what were they told? So this is from popular information. Judd Legum, he says that the migrants told reporters they were misled about the nature of the flights. Several migrants told NPR they were told the flight was going to Boston, not Martha's Vineyard. According to the migrants, a woman who identified herself as Perla also said that if they traveled to Boston, they could receive expedited work papers. That's a good reason to go.
Of course.
And apparently they were given these, and please, let's comment on the quality of these brochures. These were brochures that Perla was handing out that to me look like like my mom printed them on her home printer after like I gave her tech support for half an hour, because that's usually what I talk to her about. And so, and they're like, Massachusetts welcomes you, beneficios para refugiados. And then
these brochures are printed in that same font as that used condom pamphlet that's at the clinic. I know that's a very specific analogy, but
there's
the
a
people who
used
know,
condom.
they know. Yeah, you go to like the clinic for like your eyes. There's like that little brochure wall, and it's
Right.
just condoms and your menstrual cycle and
Yes.
then tuberculosis and you. And then there's the one that just says use condoms, but and it's all the same font. You know, the
My
chat knows what I'm talking about. Fuck
hell
y'all.
yeah. My favorite brochure is the one that's like, so you're pregnant, don't drink. And it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, motherfucker, I know I'm not supposed to drink.
Yeah, this is a very Courier New with 1.5 spacing between each letter type situation here. It's
Yeah, no, that's
yeah.
exactly right. There's so in this case, in that analogy, this would be like, hey, you know that broken condom? Use it. Hell, put it on. When it breaks, it means it worked.
Yeah, that's why
Um,
I didn't know they had I didn't know they were at FedEx office making duped up brochures to help really sell this, but I guess that makes perfect sense because the more legitimate it looks, the easier it is to get people on the plane.
exactly. And if you're promised expedited papers, I mean, that's essentially the golden ticket. So, um, apparently it said migrants would be given 8 months cash assistance. Done. I'm there. Assistance with housing. Cool. Food, clothing,
Okay.
transportation to job interviews, job training, job placement, registering for children for school, assistance applying for social security cards and or cards, excuse me, and many other benefits, which is kind of ironic because it's all the shit that Republicans claim Democrats are just handing out to undocumented people. Um, but it all honestly sounds good. Like everyone should get that, not just undocumented people. This would be tight. But
I
anywho's, yeah.
I just hope that the cities that are stepping up, I mean, this is kind of it's a separate issue, but it kind of no, it's not really a separate issue. I just hope that the cities that are stepping up and helping these migrants, once this crisis has been solved for these particular parties, that
Mm-hmm.
these cities continue to have the same benevolence for the unhoused that are also there in their streets.
Totally.
And that's the thing where it gets a little like, all right, clearly you're good. So can you continue to help other people in a fucked up situation as well? Or were you just doing this because the Republicans are trying to embarrass you and you tried to throw boomerang back the embarrassment? So, I just want to, I really hope that this benevolence that these cities are displaying isn't, ultimately performative in the long run.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're referring to the fact that a lot of Martha's Vineyard residents came out, gave hugs, helped folks like actually get back because some of them had like, hearings they had to be at. And it's funny because the Fox News line, is like, aha, look at them, how they just, you know, they wanted them to get the hell out of there. And you're like, no, it's not actually really what happened. But I think, and I saw this one meme of like the Homer disappearing into the bushes where it's like, you know, a liberal holding a like one of those signs, in this house we believe, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then as soon as like migrants come in, it's like a no trespassing. And you're like,
Yeah.
that would be funny because that's on point, except when it comes to the unhoused is where liberals true, like if you really want to like get them, you're exactly right. Like it's around unhoused people and like the
Well,
fact that a lot of folks in wealthier neighborhoods, not that like there are that many unhoused people in Martha's Vineyard generally.
yeah,
It's a
but
small island.
but I'm not this for me. The point isn't isolated to the vineyard. I mean, I'm talking about Chicago, New York specifically.
Right.
They scoop up unhoused, put them on a bus, and drop them off 2 counties away, and be like, "Good luck."
Yeah,
All right, all right.
exactly.
Same dick move. There was just no plane involved. So just as you continue to care about the immigrants, I hope that love and benevolence, trickles on to other people that are, that are in your community.
Absolutely.
And have been for a long time.
Absolutely. No, exactly. And I wanted to point out, the funny angle on this whole story is who's taking credit for it. Well, actually, before we go to that, I just want to say this shit's not stopping. So Greg Abbott did his own 100 migrants to Kamala Harris's house in DC. 50 more were just sent over the weekend. DeSantis today, this is Tuesday the 20th, he's flying immigrants from San Antonio now to Biden's home in Delaware. So they're like, they think it's great, right? They're like, oh, we're crushing it. But the real question is, whose idea was it? So Trump is going around mad as hell saying DeSantis stole my plan for shipping migrants.
That is such a great argument. You stole my shit. That was my idea.
Just imagine the things in history. If you're the gas chambers, my idea.
Yeah.
I'll never get credit for it, but Adolf and I totally had a drink the night before. I don't actually think that was Adolf's idea, but you know what I'm saying? Just imagine looking at this cruelty and being like, that was my idea. And in fact, that shit wasn't his idea. It was Tucker Carlson's idea back in July. I'm not going to subject everybody to that clip. Visionary. But Tucker Carlson is basically like, you know what we should do? We should, he doesn't have glasses, but whatever. We should ship all these migrants into Martha's Vineyard. And so that's essentially where Greg Abbott and DeSantis got that idea. But of course, Trump is salty about it because he wants the credit for the cruelty, no matter where it lies.
Of course.
What's going on, Frantifa? If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel right now. Hit that button. And also, you can become a patron and support the show every single week. Get access to bonus episodes and exclusive merchandise. Patreon.com/bitchuation room. Do